You can get your Alien figures at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description. Dragon Ball, Pokemon, Kaiju, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hey there, collectors, it's Steven here, and today we're going to be taking a look at an Alien figure, one that I have actually been pretty excited about, and it's going to be the 40th anniversary 7-inch scale Big Chap renewal. So I've lost track of how many times NECA has reissued and resculpted their ultimate Big Chap figure here, but I for some reason I feel like this is the first ultimate Big Chap, so yay. Good on them there. Now, with this being said, well, did NECA actually knock it out of the park? I mean, we have had some issues in the past with some of their Alien figures, and, well, I don't know, are they still persistent? I mean, I got a video of the of one of the other ones that I got that'll be popping up in the card. So my hopes are, let's hope this is a good one. And so surprisingly, yeah, I like it. Got some issues, but we'll talk about that a bit more. So let's take a look to see whether or not Big Chap here is worth adding into your collection. Looking over Big Chap, there is one sort of subjective issue and two objective issues with my particular unit. So what am I talking about? Well, we have the 360 spin view here where we can see, yes, Big Chap is very, very good. I think NECA did a relatively good job overall. I think the paint application is great. The updated sculpt in some areas, even though it may be shared with some other figures, does look good. This is definitely a Big Chap that I was glad to hold out for at the end of the day. Now, what are those issues that I was talking about? Does it come in the form of paint for the teeth? Nope, not at all. But we're in that area that I was talking about. What am I talking about? Well, in the promotional pictures, they showed a nice clear dome for Big Chap, and that includes up at the head, which is now smoky gray, almost black. It appears on some units. So this is a significant change from the prototype, and I do understand how a lot of folks may be upset with this. However, in hand, it doesn't look too dark. You can still make out the sculpted details underneath. They probably should have just made it universally a very, very opaque coloration. But yeah, I definitely see how this can turn some folks off. Now, one of the objective issues with the dome is that for whatever reason, again, I can't even tell you how many times they've done Big Chap, or they have used Big Chap's head on a figure, going back to the Isolation Xenomorph, or even some of the Counter Tribute figures, they can't get it to be form-fitting. There is still going to be a little bit of the sculpt underneath that clear dome that is sticking out. I would imagine that it would be very difficult to get this done, but for those of you who seek perfection, yes, this is going to be an issue. And considering that this has been something that has happened again and again and again and again and again, you'd think that NECA would be able to figure this out. Now, moving on down throughout the rest of the figure, yep, sculpt is great. Paint application, we have some grayish, brownish paint that is used to bring out some of the details, so biomechanically, looks great. Now, the other issue on mine is that the left wrist, it looks like the plastic was actually shredded a little bit at the joint. So if I go to twist it and turn it, it does separate, and I have a feeling that this is going to break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to NECA's customer service department, and I will get back on this. It'll be a post on either Instagram or Twitter to see what exactly might be done for this. Otherwise, yep, it's more of the same, and that same is good. We have some nicely sculpted legs with appropriate paint application all throughout, including what looks to be some nice smoky airbrushing throughout the legs, which really brings out some great details on some of the more flat surfaces, so good there. And then we have the spiny, bony tail that goes all the way up into a nice, spiky, pointy tip, which, again, looks good. Overall, for the paint application for Big Chap, love or hate the blacked out dome near the head. I gotta say, overall, I think they did a good job here for the price point. Realistically speaking, aside from those things that I brought up, which not every unit may necessarily have, a Big Chap looks very good. Big Chap and Articulation. Well, if you saw my original unboxing and review from a few years ago, things didn't go well. Things are better here, but they took a few steps back in some areas. Specifically, they removed the bicep swivel, which we'll see in a second. It's not that big of a loss, but hey, some folks are upset about it. But what do we have? What works? What doesn't? Well, obviously, the jaw is going to be on a hinge, opens and closes, and the inner mouth, shoop, does that. So this likes to fall out as long as it has the clearance to do so, it seems. So I tend to, whenever I open Big Chap's mouth, just open it a little bit to prevent that from falling out. It is what it is. Head plugs into the neck on a ball joint, so this way we can move it around. But as some of you veterans may know, we have this back spike, which is in the way, which you can just go pop, and there we go. Significantly better range of movement. You can look almost all the way up. Some of you may be familiar with a new NECA joint system that some of the newer xenomorphs have that NECA has made. Unfortunately, that is not present here, which is a bummer, but it is what it is. So yes, we can get full range of movement out of the head of Big Chap, which is good. So for the shoulders, going to be the standard swivel and hinge movement, so he can fully T-pose, which is cool. We don't have the true bicep cut for the swivel anymore. However, we do have double hinged elbows now, which I think this is first for the Big Chap, which is great. And with that double hinge actually comes a swivel right there. So effectively, we do get a bicep swivel. It's just located in a different spot. But that double hinge also means we get a forearm swivel as well. You may have some stuck joints. If that is the case, run this guy under hot water, should loosen up the joints. You can use hot tap water, or you can use a blow dryer, should do the same thing. I'm not going to move this wrist because, as you can kind of see, it's split in there. So I will show you here. We have a swivel and hinge for the wrist articulation, and I feel like the hands on my Big Chap are switched, but I don't know. Anyway, for the waist, we're going to have a ball joint and get some good movement there. This waist joint was stuck on my Big Chap. I had to loosen that up. And once I did, it was just fine, which is kind of opposite of the original Big Chap that I had, for those of you who saw that video. For the hips, we are going to kick out about that far on a swivel and move back about that far on the same swivel as well. So that's very good. We do have hinges to go out about that far, so we can do the splits, no problem. He's going to use the same connection hip joints that NECA likes to use. So if your hips look like they're not perfectly aligned, they're tilted a little bit, I got a video to help you take care of that because they plug into each other. We do have thigh swivels. Very good. Now for the knees, for those of you who have the foot soldiers, the movie foot soldiers, you should notice this here. We do have an upper hinge and a lower hinge, so double hinge, but this is the classic disc with a pin in it, and I'm not sure what's going on up here. It actually kind of looks to be somewhat similar, but this one up top is easier to move than the bottom one, and I'm kind of afraid if I push it a little bit, I'm going to break it, but we get a nice bend like that. But the top hinge on both are relatively loose. This one is super loosey-goosey. It's the stanky leg, like my Freddy versus Jason Voorhees figure, so kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. For the ankles, we're going to have full range of movement. It kind of doesn't look like a ball joint. It looks like we have a swivel hinge system there, but my gut is telling me this is just a really, really good ball joint. And then, as usual, we have a toe hinge. So feet, they're going to move just fine. And then for the tail, we do have a swivel at the base, which some folks have reported breakages of, but I don't know if they just don't realize that that gap is going to be there because of the swivel. And then we have the bendy wire tail, as usual. Now, this tail can be used as sort of like a tripod, a third leg for Big Chap here. You can use that to prop him to stand up or to help him balance in certain poses. But realistically speaking, if you're pretty good, you won't need that. So yeah, Big Chap's articulation definitely fits the ultimate design. If you are creative, you got all the joints you need to make a nicely posed alien. Accessories, we have the issue of the hour here because I actually just finished up my Annabelle review as well, and quantity-wise, we only get 3 things. but quality-wise, they're all pretty good. We get the original alien egg that is opened up, we get the alien design face hugger, and we get the alien design chest burster. Now, for all of them, they are new to this ultimate release of Big Chap, and they are accurately sculpted. So first, let's go ahead and take a look at the chest burster, so this way you can see it. Looks great. The paint application for the teeth, it looks as fine as it can be. It's nice and bloody, so if you have a character who this can burst out of, congrats! This would be very cool for you. Now, for the face hugger, yep, it is brand new, and some folks have pointed out that they think that it looks a bit closer to the autopsy scene than it does to any other time that it showed up on the screen, which it's been a while since I've seen the original Alien, so I'm going to go ahead and go with the folks who may know exactly what they're talking about. Yes, I do like the Alien franchise, but I'm not a super hardcore fan. So, yep, I'm going to go with that. Yeah, let's go with that, so I could be wrong. But some of you folks may say, nope, not a resculpt. So I do have a few of the aliens, with an S there, face huggers, and here's one of them, do a side by side. Do note that the little fingers of the aliens face hugger, they are warped a bit, but that's just because of how they were stored, so don't mind that. As you can see, totally different. Now, we do have the egg, which does look, once again, different. And not only does it look different, it also has a little tendrily base that has some organic vine-looking things coming out of the base, which is pretty cool. The only issue with the egg is that if you don't use this base, it doesn't have a bottom. So you're going to have to use the base with the egg. I mean, it's not really that big of an issue, but if you have a smaller shelf space and I don't know, someone's going to be upset about this. Personally, I'm not, but someone is. But anyway, sculpt and paint for the egg, it does look good and it looks grotesque, which is exactly what something like this should be. It does look like if you were to poke it, it would squish, and quite frankly, that should upset you. And if it does, then NECA did a good job. Now, I know there are going to be some folks who are going to say, nope, that is just going to be a repaint of the Aliens egg that came out in the egg carton set. Well, here's another side-by-side for you, so this way you can see, nope, it is not, in fact, a repaint of the Aliens egg. So all in all, we get a really nice amount of accessories with Big Chap. Not a whole lot else I think they really could have included here, and what they did include was essential for the character. We get the egg, we get the face hugger, we get the baby alien, and then we get the full-grown alien, which is great. So we get the whole lifespan here, and realistically speaking, I don't know what else they could have included that won't already be included with the various releases that are coming up for the 40th anniversary, which you can also check out at the links in the description, so this way you can pre-order some of the figures. Yeah, so pretty cool. Overall, accessories for Big Chap here, they're good. Now we're going to go ahead and move on over to a size comparison where, realistically speaking, since this is going to reuse some parts and it's the 7-inch scale alien you all know and love, should not be any surprising differences in scale with your other figures. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Initially, I was kind of thinking no to Big Chap here, but, well, you know what? I'm glad I got it. Some loose parts in terms of articulation are rather unfortunate, and NECA really needs to step up their dome game. But at the end of the day, if you're a fan of aliens, if you want just a Big Chap for your collection, then for, let's round and say $30, compared to some of even the import competition, this one is going to be difficult to beat. Definitely gets my seal of approval. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now you've heard a lot from me, I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for STR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand-selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand-selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.